Welcome, welcome to Tuesdays with a Twist, or this particular Tuesday with a twist. So, this is a gentle practice where we do a lot of twisting. Um, Please, as you practice at your own pace, check in with your body and make any adjustments you need to make throughout this practice to make this work for your body. You should not feel pain. And sometimes a little bit of discomfort is okay if you feel like you're stretching or releasing something. But I just hope that you'll be really mindful about staying within your pain-free range of motion and not doing whatever your body doesn't like, right? You'll get clues from your body, right? So we want to stay really mindful, really connected with the body and listening for those clues. So you might sit on a blanket that is a couple of inches high in order to help extend the spine fully so that we're not rounding the low back. Just coming into a comfortable posture, again, modifying any way you need to. Sometimes people will have one leg straight or the other. Um, any variation of Sukhasana, legs could be ankles crossed or not. And then bringing your hands to a comfortable place. Maybe they're on your legs, maybe they're on your lap. Just check in and see what feels most natural for you right here, right now. And in order to do that, you might close your eyes. Closing the eyes takes away the visual stimuli and allows us to be more aware of our inner experience. So just settling in, making any adjustments to find more ease, maybe scanning awareness through the body, letting go of tension. Allowing the shoulders to relax down toward the earth. Allowing the palms and fingers to soften any amount. Allowing the muscles of the face to relax. You might separate your teeth and lips slightly to help release tension in the hinge of the jaw. See if you can soften around your eye sockets. The eyebrows. Forehead and temples. And perhaps you notice your breath. Try not to control it, just notice it with a sense of curiosity, allowing it to be whatever it wants to be. And then we might start gradually deepening the breath, inviting the breath deep into the body. You might sense the belly expanding, the rib cage expanding on each in breath, contracting on each out breath. It's recommended that you breathe in and out through the nose, if that's available to you, and if not, maybe just opening the mouth, the lips, just slightly. And then we'll practice Ujjayi breathing so that we understand it and we have it accessible to us at any point in the practice. So Ujjayi, which means victory breath, is done usually through the nose, through a gently constricted throat. So that means you would make the same kind of action in the throat as you would if you were trying to fog up a mirror, except ideally breathing in and out through the nose. So you'll hear the sound of your breath as you inhale and exhale. The sound might remind you of the sound of gentle waves in the ocean. Then you might choose a pattern where you inhale for a certain length and exhale for a different length. Here, we'll try using a longer exhale than inhale in order to relax the body mind. So you might breathe in for 2 or 3 counts and breathe out for anywhere between 4 to 8 counts. So see how that works for you and let it feel natural. You don't need to feel forced. And you might just take 1 or 2 more rounds of breath. I'm enjoying it so much I don't want to stop, but I will. So we'll bring our hands together at the heart center and set an intention, a sankalpa, for this practice. So you could again close your eyes and just inquire within. Inquire with your deepest self. What is it that you could use? What kind of support do you want to give to yourself during this yoga practice today? Just closing your eyes, asking that question, and letting the answer arise naturally from your deepest self. When you feel ready, releasing your hands, we'll come into our first gentle movement, twisting the cervical spine. So as you allow the sit bones to root down into the support toward the earth and lengthen up through the crown of your head, the back top of your head, we'll let our gaze gently move from side to side, maybe gently drawing the shoulders back and down as well, paying attention to sensation. never forcing. Again, letting your body be your guide. And maybe incorporating the flow of your breath. So inhaling to one side and exhaling to the other. So we're getting some fluids flowing in the cervical spine. We're coordinating movement with breath. So this brings us very into the present moment. And then we'll bring our head back to center, pausing for a moment to notice sensations. All right, so next we're going to come into a twist, and you could keep your legs like this if you're comfortable and if you don't want to try this next option. Or you could bring your left foot behind you. I'm going to let it rest under my blanket, and the right foot could rest on top of your left thigh, if that feels right. If you have something to support the leg, that's an option. Instead of the leg moving all the way to the mat, a block or pillow or something. And then we'll try to feel grounded and centered, right? We don't want to feel like the spine is twisted or leaning, okay? So nice and upright spine. And we'll take our arms out to the sides, take a deep breath in and lengthen. And then exhaling, let your right hand come to your left leg and your left hand directly behind you, planting it behind you to help you keep that extension in your spine. The heart lifts, the shoulders relax down, and we're gently twisting, breathing, paying attention, non-judgmentally, treating the body, the whole being with kindness, adjusting to find no pain. One more breath. And we'll slowly soften back to center and take the left hand to the right leg and the right hand behind you, grounding to lengthen. You might even close your eyes and visualize your spine. As you lengthen up through the crown of your head, the chin draws in toward your throat slightly. And you might sense the spaces in between the vertebra and the discs. You might breathe deeply with the Ujjayi technique. Explore your pose. And then we'll slowly soften out of the twist and extend both legs out in front of you. Coming into Dandasana or staff pose. So here you might use a block if you have one between your calves, partly for the distance and partly for strengthening. So we'll bring our hands behind us, fingers pointing away, and not too far behind because we don't want to be leaning back, but we want to have the spine stacked. Shoulders are above hips. And then we pull the throat back slightly to lengthen the back of the neck, extend out the crown of the head, which might mean your gaze lowers a little bit. You find a focal point, a gentle gaze on the horizon called drishti. And then let's bring some awareness into our legs. We're flexing the ankles, reaching the heels away from us, and maybe even pushing the big toe mounds toward away from you as well. Then you could hug your block. On an exhale, you might draw the navel in toward your spine so the core is engaged, and find your breath again. And hold your pose. Move awareness through your pose. Where can you engage? Where can you let go? So the face would be the first place I would suspect you might want to let go of some tension. And then we'll soften out of Dandasana. And we'll twist to the other side. So bringing the opposite foot in front and a foot behind you. Trying to feel your way into a fairly centered position, straight spine. And then maybe bringing that foot on top of your leg, maybe supporting it. And then we'll take the right hand to the left leg, the left hand behind you, grounding, growing roots, pressing the mat away from you, lifting the heart, relaxing the shoulders down, lengthening through the crown, gently twisting, not forcing, not using your hands to force, but just to stabilize you. And breathe. Even in our still postures, we might consistently move a little bit here and there. Very subtle actions to find more length, more openness, more ease, sometimes more strength. And we'll soften and go to the other side. Breathing fully, twisting gently. And softening back to center. And again, we're going to extend both legs out in front of us just briefly. Just extend and stretch the fascia of the legs. And next we'll come into Janu Shasana. So if you have a strap, that might work nicely. If you don't, that's okay. We'll talk through it. So let's bring the left heel or left foot to the inside of the right leg. And it doesn't matter how close to the body your foot is, just let it feel comfortable. Again, you might use something to support the bent leg. And you might want to wiggle into some more symmetry in the sit bones. So both hips are square, spine is straight, shoulders above hips. If you have a strap, you could take it around the ball of your foot with one piece of strap in each hand, bringing, let's move the buckle out of the way, bringing the elbows beside the body so the front body stays nice and open. And then we're reaching out the heel, flexing the ankle, drawing the toes toward the body, but then pressing the big toe mound into the strap if you have one. Now, if you don't have a strap, your hands could be on either side of your leg, okay? And we're going to fold slowly. Think of pulling your sit bones back and lengthening from the crease at the top of the leg. So you're not going to fold very much right now. We're keeping the spine straight. And again, with or without your strap. Keep the back of your neck long, lengthening out the crown. You might deepen your breath here, Ujjayi breath. Engage your core, which will protect your back. And then come on back up a little bit. And then we're going to twist the heart just very subtly toward the knee. And then fold again. Straight line from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And you could flow in and out of it a couple of times. Inhaling up and exhaling down if you like. Or you could stay in the fold and begin to soften a little bit into it. Maybe you intentionally drop the strap and place your hands on the mat and let your back round a bit. Keep your core engaged to support and protect your back. And breathe deeply. Then you could take your right hand either to the inside of the foot or the outside or to the floor in front of your foot and twist your body to look in the direction of your bent knee, maybe extending the arm behind you or overhead or toward the ceiling, what feels good in your body. And breathe. And inhale to come up. Exhale. We'll come back to center and go to the other side. So left leg straight, right leg bent, wherever that leg wants the foot. Center the sit bones. If you have a strap, wrap it around the ball of your foot, one piece of strap in each hand, elbows coming back toward the body. If you don't have a strap, maybe hands grounding, maybe roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Extending through the heel, flexed ankle, pressing the big toe mound forward. Breathe, lengthen. And then we'll slowly, as you pull the sit bones back, which is a very subtle action, you're not going to actually move anywhere, but it's the intention that helps us keep the spine straight. And then the back of the neck stays long. We're not going to lift the chin. We might come up on the in-breaths and lower on the out-breaths. Then you might twist the heart toward the knee. Again, a very subtle action. And fold. Bring awareness into the leg as your heel still reaching away from you. If that's a little too much stretch, you could bend your knee a little bit, which would also help you fold at the hips a little more. And then we can let go of our strap, bring the left hand somewhere to the foot, to the inside, twist toward the bent leg, and let the back arm tell you where it wants to go. Might want to stretch overhead. Breathe. And use your hands to walk you back upright. And come into a simple seated pose one more time. Let your body settle, closing eyes, just be for a couple breaths. All right, we're going to stretch our wrists a little bit, warm them up before we come onto hands and knees. Move things out of the way. So just clasping the hands, turning the palms to face away, kind of pushing the hands forward. Let the hands come a little bit lower than your shoulders so the shoulders don't shrug up. Shoulders relax down. And then maybe inhale the arms overhead. And exhale them down. And then we'll turn the palms to face the body. Release the hands and clasp again with the opposite forefinger in front or on top. Extend the arms straight. Now, kind of glue your fingers together, hug them together, and then pull as if you're trying to pull them apart, but they don't pull apart because you're hugging. You might feel that stretch in the tops of your wrists. And then again, you could inhale the arms overhead. Maybe the hands come behind you, maybe they don't. Don't force, just notice, allow, open, extend, enjoy, and bring the arms back down and slowly relax. And then maybe circle the wrists a couple times in each direction. We'll get some fluids flowing in the joint, lubricating the joint. Okay, so next, you're always welcome to, when we come onto hands and knees, to put a blanket under your knees if that feels good for the knees. And we're going to come onto hands and knees with wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Also, if your wrists are problematic, you could come into fists. And then some people also tent the hands. I prefer fists over tenting, but today, yeah, I think I'm going to go with a fist today. So we want to check in and see if the belly is sagging toward the earth. And if so, we don't want, let's to let that happen. So we engage the core, drawing the navel in toward the spine. And we also push the hands away from the mat. So the heart also is not sinking, but the heart rises. The shoulder blades broaden across the back. So play around with that for a moment. See if you can get that sensation, those sensations in your body. And we'll think of looking straight down. The back of the neck is long, and extending your left leg straight back, toes on the mat, maybe pressing the heel back a little for a calf stretch. Just feel that, and then release that. And then we're going to swing. I'm going to have to move my little Tibetan bell. Swing the leg out to the side to your left. So if the left leg went back, the left leg goes out to the side. And hopefully it can come straight out from the hip joint. And toes point forward, the whole foot on the floor or mat, depending on which way you're facing. Sometimes I do this way. So the foot is on the mat still. All right, then we're going to keep the right hand. Sometimes I mirror and sometimes I don't. So I had to think about, wait, was I mirroring? So I'll keep the right hand on the floor and sweep up into a twist. Now, as you twist, pay attention to your hips. We don't want the hip to shift. We want the inner thigh to face the mat the whole time. So we're twisting from the waist up. Inhale, open the heart. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, lengthen through the crown, grounding through the hand and the foot and the knee on the mat. Breathe. Lengthen. Gently reaching. Feeling that twist. I'm feeling it here in my hip a lot. Feels so good. Then I'm going to bring my hand back to the mat and ground through both hands. Engage the core again. Swinging my left foot behind me and across the midline. Tucking the toes under, reaching the heel back. Now lift the heart forward and then twist to look toward your heel. Now you might inhale and come out of the twist a little. Exhale and deepen your twist again, thinking about your rib cage and hip moving toward each other. And then as you inhale, they come away a little bit. Or you could just stay there with that kind of squeezing hip and or rib toward hip action and stretching the left side body. Breathe. Now just move awareness through the pose. Is there any tension here that doesn't seem beneficial? See what you have to do to let go of that. And then we'll slowly bring the leg back under the hip. And you might press back into a child's rest or come to a standing kneel to take some weight off your wrists, find some symmetry, settle for a couple breaths. Child's rest doesn't look the same for everyone. In fact, no pose looks the same for everyone. So some people's knees will want to be together, some people's knees will be wider, etc., etc. Hips might be rising in the air versus resting on the heels. You might like a support for your forehead, block or a cushion. And we'll settle in for a couple more breaths. And then we'll walk the hands back in toward the body to bring the body upright. Come back onto hands and knees. So again, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, pressing down through the balls of your hands, like you're trying to push the floor away, which lifts the heart. You could even press your throat slightly up, engage your core, helps to engage it on an exhale, on a ha, and then extend your right leg back, straight back, toes on the mat. And then we'll slide the leg out to the side, bringing the sole of the foot to the mat, toes pointing forward. And then keeping that inner leg facing the mat, don't let your hip shift. Twist from the waist up, open, ground to lengthen. So grounding means pressing down into the floor or really just feeling that connection, that earth supporting you. Top arm, palm faces forward to open that shoulder. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the jaw. Maybe one more breath here. And we'll bring the hand back to the mat, under the shoulder. Check on your hip alignment, core engagement, and we'll swing the right leg back behind you and across the midline. Tuck the toes under, reach your heel away from you. Lengthen forward, the heart reaching up, toward your head and the head reaching away from the shoulders. And then twist to look toward the heel. And again, you could inhale, soften out of the twist a little. Exhale, deepen it or stay. And feel the stretch on the right side of your body. We'll bring the knee back under the hip and press back one more time into a child's rest. I'm going to turn so you can see it from this angle. Typically, knees separate somewhat. Big toes might come to touch in the middle. Arms extend a little forward. Pressing the hands forward shifts the hips toward the heels. And then we rest the forehead on the mat or a support. Sometimes we start with the palms lifted, elbows lifted, fingertips grounding, pressing forward to lengthen the spine back. And then you could soften, relaxing the arms, the shoulders, the belly and hips. And we might return to our breathing pattern of breathing in for 2, 3, or 4, breathing out for 4, 6, or 8. And don't fret about it if it's not perfect. The intention is to lengthen the exhale longer than the inhales. And then when you're ready, coming back up onto hands and knees. We're going to bring the knees back under the hips. Let the feet come apart so they're hip width apart as well. Tuck your toes under and then grounding into the balls of both hands and feet, press up. So the hips lift away from the mat and press your torso toward your thighs. Let your knees stay bent. Really lengthen from the wrists to the hips. Let your head drop. You could shake it no a couple times to release tension in the neck. On an exhale or a ha, engage your core. And just explore what feels good here. Then we'll walk the feet toward the hands, coming into forward fold. Feet hip width apart. Try to distribute your weight evenly across the 4 corners of both feet instead of sinking into your heels or too far forward into the balls of your feet. Again, knees are soft, belly's relaxed, head and arms dropping. Just breathing deeply. All right, and then let's bring the right hand to the mat and ground through both feet. Engage your core. Try to keep both hips facing forward as you twist toward the left, bringing your left hand to your left hip and elbow in toward the midline any amount. Breathe. Exhale back to center. So left hand comes to the mat. Still grounding through the feet, core engaged. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the other side. Right hand to your hip, elbow pulling toward the midline of your body. And soften back down. And then another breath here. And on your exhale, engage your core again. Ground through the feet, and inhaling will come up to standing with a flat back. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Arms might sweep overhead, palms could touch. You might look up toward your hands. Deep breath in. And then exhaling, hands could come in front of your heart center in Anjali Mudra. Heels and fingertips, heels of the hands and fingertips touching. Find your gentle gaze, your drishti. Just be for a moment. What is your experience in this present moment? Can you let go of some tension? How are you breathing? Just noticing the breath with non-judgmental curiosity. All right, and then we'll release the hands. And so next, we're going to come into a couple of twists standing. And we'll start by facing the long edge of your mat. You might like to use blocks for a couple of these poses, so you might have one on either end of the mat just in case. We're going to start with a warrior pose. So we bring the legs as far apart as you can while still feeling stable, okay? Sometimes it's helpful to have a chair nearby or a wall nearby. Anyway, we'll lift the left toes and from the hip joint, turn the whole leg out and widen the sole of your foot as you set the foot down. And then we'll turn the back leg in, either toes come forward or I'm going to move my heel back. So that inner thigh is rotating underneath you. Then we'll bend the front knee, aligning it above the ankle, making sure it doesn't move in front of your ankle. We want strong support for the knee joint. Then root down, press deeply into the earth with both feet. Notice how your muscles engage up the legs. Then engage your core, navel to spine. And we'll twist from the waist up, bring the arms out to the sides, reach out the fingers as you draw the arm bones back into their sockets. And then you might look over your left hand, warrior two. Breathe. A strengthening, gentle twist. And we'll come into a side stretch. So here's where we might want to block. You could either bring your hands to a block at whatever height feels good, or the elbow to the inner thigh. Let both palms face up and sweep the back arm overhead. Now you might like to look up, or you might like to have a drishti straight in front of you. Some people might even like to look down. You might look down just to make sure your knee is aligning above your ankle. I need it to shift a little bit. Ground through both feet. Engage your core. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Breathe. Now your stance does not have to be this wide. Okay. And then we're going to press down through the front foot especially to push the knee straight and bring the body back upright. And we'll bend the knee slightly to lift the toes, turn the foot to face forward, and then scissor maybe both or the other foot back in. We'll just pause. Close your eyes. Notice your experience in this moment. You may notice energy flowing through the body or some heat in the body. You may notice fatigue. Lots of things you might notice. other than what I'm saying. All right, so again, we'll step our feet apart. This time we'll lift the right toes, turn the leg out from the hip joint, widen the foot as you lower it down, and then turn the back leg in. This time I wanted to pull the toes in versus the heel away. So we'll bend the knee, front knee, your right knee, aligning it above the ankle. Root down, feel the strengthening of the legs. On an exhale, engage your core and twist from the waist up to face the long edge of your mat, arms extend. Reaching out the fingers, all 10 of them, drawing the arm bones back into their sockets. It's a lot going on in just the arms, let alone the rest of the body. And then find your gentle gaze and breathe. Feel the strength of your warrior pose, the openness of your heart. And then we'll bend into our side pose. So again, folding, maybe the hand comes to a block, maybe the elbow to your thigh, and that's a nice reminder to keep the thigh opening so it doesn't roll forward toward the big toe side of your foot, and both palms face up, back arm sweeps overhead. Now build your pose from the base up again. Root down, lengthen through the crown, engage your core. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. One or two more breaths. Then we'll press down through both feet, but especially the front one. Push your body back upright. And you might keep this knee slightly bent to lift the toes and turn the leg in. And then again, scissor. You could scissor both feet. I am healing from a broken foot, so can't quite scissor leg. I otherwise would. All right, so now those two blocks, you could set them, if you have them, in front of you. Step your feet wide again. Toes this time are going to stay pointing forward the whole time. Now, we might lift the outer edges of our feet and really start to ground from what we call the big toe mound outward. So you're widening the foot as you're lowering it back to the mat. Now, really want to root down, especially through the big toe mounds and the outer heels through this whole thing. So you might feel some action in your hips as you do that. And then engage your core. Find your breath. And we'll bring our hands to the top of the legs, not the waist, but where your legs meet your body. And we're going to fold forward, lengthen up, lift your heart up, let the inner thighs rotate back. Your sit bones come apart a little bit. And then bring your hands to your blocks. And the torso is now essentially parallel to your mat, to the earth. Check in with yourself here. Grounding, big toe mounds, outer heels. Legs are strong, but don't hyperextend your knees. Maybe a micro bend in the knees. Core is still engaged, so you're defying gravity, right? Don't let that belly sag. Lift the heart forward, shoulders away from the ears. And we're going to come into another twist. So you can adjust your blocks or tent your hand on the mat and bring it right in front of you and twist open. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hand back to the mat. Switch hands. Ground through the feet. Hips stay square, facing forward. Inhale up. Exhale down. Maybe one more time on each side. Are your legs still strong? Your core still engaged? And then we'll bring our hands either off the blocks to the floor or to your shins and bend the knees a little bit more and see if you can bend a little more deeply, letting your back round a little, just kind of allowing here. And then we're going to walk both hands over to one foot. So just gently twisting. Maybe the right hand comes to the outer left ankle. Check in on what you want to do with your head and neck. Don't lift your chin. And we'll slowly move past center to the other side. The knees could be one straight, one soft, both straight, whatever your body is asking for here. I'm going to kind of move through all of those to see which I prefer. And then coming back to center and grounding through the hands, either hands on the mat or on your shins or thighs. Engage, right? Big toe mounds, outer heels, rooting down, core engaged. And we're going to bring our hands back to the top of the legs and inhale up to standing with a flat back. Sigh it out. And then again, you could scissor your feet back together. The reason I have you scissoring your feet back together is because if your feet are this far apart and you lift one leg off the mat, muscles in here somewhere are going to clench and react to that lack of balance, and that might create some issues in the future. So it's really best to keep a foot supporting you on both sides. So notice when I say scissor, it's heel lifts off, heel grounds, toes lift off, toes ground, that kind of thing, or the ball of the foot, really. Okay, so, and then we'll just do a slow motion wiggle, wiggle it out. Maybe you clasp your hands behind you. If you don't like that, hands to your glutes, pull the elbows in, bring your feet to hip distance apart. Maybe let the inner tips of your shoulder blades move forward a little, so you're having an upper back arch, just a little bit. And don't let your low body arch, send your sit bones toward your heels. And then you can let the hands slide. And we're going to lengthen down into a forward fold. So ground the feet, engage the core, inner thighs rotate back as you lengthen down. Soften here. Deep breath out. Place our hands on the mat, about shoulder width apart. Grounding, we'll step one leg back and then the other back into a downward dog. So you're pressing into the balls of your hands to shift your hips up and back. This time, let's focus a little bit on what our arms and shoulders are doing. So you could let your elbows bend a little and draw the elbows in toward the midline a little bit so your forearms are parallel, and so it's engaging some muscles around the shoulder joints. Make sure to keep pressing down and away from the mat with the balls of your hands, especially thumbs and forefingers. And then play with that rotation, the elbows coming toward the midline. Like the bony part of your outside elbow coming toward the mat, toward the midline. And then you might explore lengthening up through the sit bones any amount, heels moving toward the mat any amount. And then we'll slowly shift our weight forward, bring the knees to the mat, and then they might come a little wider apart if that's good for your body, coming back into a child's rest. So push your hands forward so the hips shift back towards your heels, and then we'll rest and soften and breathe. And be present for ourselves. Shifting to find more ease in the pose if you need to. All right, and then you can walk your hands in toward your knees, press your body upright. We're going to come into one final twist, which will be a reclined twist. So lying on your back, make your way down mindfully. Stretch both legs long and straight. You might tuck your shoulder blades in and down the back any amount. And then we'll bend the right knee. Place that right foot on the mat. Ground into it. Lift and shift your hips to the right and then roll to the left. You might bring your left hand to the top of your right thigh just to stabilize, don't push. The left leg, the straight leg, stays active. So that ankle is flexed and you're reaching the heel away from you, grounding the outer edge of the left foot into the mat. On an exhale, engage your core. And you might extend your left hand out to the side, shoulder height, with the palm facing up. Press the back of your hand into the floor to help open the chest, twisting toward the right, reaching right, looking right, and then moving awareness through your pose again from the base up. Breathe. Slowly soften back onto the back body, bending both knees, placing both feet on the mat to help find your symmetry. Square your hips and shoulders. And then we'll extend the right leg long and straight. Grounding into the left foot, lift and shift your hips to the left. Roll to the right, stacking your hips one on top of the other. Maybe your right hand comes to the left leg, or maybe it stays open out to the side. Then check in with your right leg. It's active, reaching, grounding, strong. Core engages. You might notice how your hips shift subtly when you engage your core. It's going to protect your back. And then maybe you're pressing the right hand against the floor to open the chest, open the left shoulder, reach left, look left, and lengthen out the crown of your head, which will draw the chin in versus lifting it. Breathe fully. Explore your pose. And we'll slowly soften out of the twist, bringing both feet to the mat to find your symmetry, lifting, shifting hips, squaring the torso. Just feeling your symmetry on the back, on the mat. Deep breath in and out. And then we'll hug one leg in at a time and maybe rock from left to right. You could look in the opposite direction your legs rock. How is your breathing coordinating with this movement? And coming back to center, we'll place our feet on the mat and prepare for Shavasana. So after I get you into Shavasana, you may want to pause the recording for about 5 minutes. Give yourself at least 5 minutes. Anyway, so in order to prepare for Shavasana, we want to create space and length, openness in the body. So again, we'll reach out the heels, flex the ankles, stretch the toes apart, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, let go of all that effort. Let the legs relax. We'll do the same thing with the arms. So the arms could be directly next to you or a little wider apart. Check in to see what feels best. And then as the palms hopefully can face up, if not, that's okay too. Reach out the fingers, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, maybe tucking the shoulder blades in toward the midline, down the back, any amount to open the front body. Deep breath in as you reach. Exhale, let go of all that effort. You might tuck your chin slightly toward your chest, lengthening the back of your neck, and then let go of that effort too. Feel your body releasing, relaxing. You might scan awareness from your toes, up your legs, into your hips and torso, shoulders to fingers, and then all the facial muscles. And then just let you go. I'll be quiet while you explore or just be in your Shavasana, perhaps resting your gentle awareness on the natural flow of your breath. At this time, you might invite the breath to deepen, still reclined and relaxed, feeling this life force, prana, enter into the body, knowing that it's nourishing every cell of your body. And as you exhale fully, you release impurities, toxins, and you signal to the nervous system to remain relaxed. And when you're ready, you might invite some gentle movement back into your body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, and gently and slowly turning the head from side to side, perhaps stretching the muscles of your face by opening the mouth wide. Ask your body what else it needs, and when you're ready, slowly, mindfully roll onto your right side, supporting your head, maybe with a prop or your arm, pausing there for another breath, using this side lying posture as a way to gently transition from your yoga practice into the rest of the day. And again, when you're ready, turning your heart and your gaze toward the earth, use both hands to slowly press you upright. Let your chin be the last to lift. Then we'll find a comfortable seated posture to close our practice. So allowing and sensing your body settling, nice upright posture, lengthened spine, open heart, either eyes closed or a gentle gaze, with hands together at the heart center, Anjali Mudra, a deep breath in and out. May you meet life as it is, with an open mind and an open heart. May you find the peace that resides within you, and may you share it with all beings. Om Shanti, 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 Om. May you go in peace. Thank you for practicing with me. Take good care of you.